Now the lesson on the rooftop model is going to move to working capital. Okay? And working capital sounds like it's a boring little thing, but actually it's one of the more complicated parts of this analysis. Of course, working capital is important in all sorts of different applications. And here's why it's going to be so difficult is I've got to the accounts receivable page, and we're going to look at the minimum and maximum functions, and we're going to look at this offset function. And the issue will be, let's say we have some net revenues recorded right up here, if you're seeing what I'm doing, and then we don't collect these for 4 months, or we collect these in 3 months, or 5 months, or 12 months, way out there. Okay? How do we take these and push them across? How do we make sure we only collect this amount, not more, not less? And how do we place that in different little buckets? Now, the first thing is just to get the day's accounts receivable, which will be in the assumptions page here, and we want to switch that and make that different for different periods. Okay, and then we're going to first just say, okay, well, how many, if this is 60 days, that means you don't collect anything here, and basically you collect you collect almost nothing in the first month, and then if it's 60 days, you collected this over the month, so or let's make it 62 days. So then you'd collect nothing here, 2 of the days here, and the remainder here. And if it was more days, you have to push it forward. That's the idea. And then so the first thing is you need to know out of this how much is collected in each month. And that's where we use minimum and maximum, see how it's collected before and all that. But that's the idea. Push it forward and see when you're collecting it, and don't collect more than 100% of the revenues. And basically it's got to you add it up, and it's basically got to be added up over a month. And then you have to say, okay, well, now we've put these percentages in, and then let's take our revenues and push the collections out here or out here or out here or out here. And then every time we change these, we push them out in a different way depending on the days to collect. We might be changing our collection days and all that. So this kind of aging of accounts receivable, it's a pain. And to do this, we're going to use the offset function. We're going to say, okay, if it's 0, we collect it this month. If it's 1, then we take this amount we had up here and we push it to this month. And then we have to do the same kind of thing with the revenues and see how many revenues we're collecting in the future month. It's going to be an application of 2 offset functions. So this is again an introduction, and then it's gonna move to the boring, detail by detail analysis of this. Frankly, if this was me, I wouldn't watch the video. Sorry to admit that. What I would do is take a look at the equations and really try to understand the equations. Try to practice it a couple of times. That's what I would really do, but you can watch the video. Okay, so it's going to continue. Okay, now I'm going to do something which is really a pain. That is something I thought I'd never do. I didn't watch one of my own videos. That I did not do, but I actually opened one of my own exercises because I can never remember really how to do this very tricky issue of working capital when you have a month by month model or quarter by quarter model, and when you assume that the days that you have to wait are longer than the amount of the days in the single month. Okay? So as soon as the days in the month exceed, as soon as the collections exceed 30 days or whatever, or 31 days or whatever you want, as soon as they exceed that, then you have to push it forward. You have to say, okay, we're not going to collect anything from the revenues this month, but then we're going to collect some next month. And if it goes further than that, 60 or 80 days, then it's a lot harder. So I purposely made these crazy kind of assumptions that the number of days changes. If the number of days don't change, it's still a little tricky when you push it out, but not as tricky as this one. And a lot of times you might have some companies or something else where the working capital really changes. And so I'm going to try to do it. I'm going to do it in a different way than I did in the other exercise, actually. Okay, so what we need to do is first we're going to figure out how many days. We're just going to put days up here, and if you saw the last one, I put it by year. And then we're going to say, well, let's look at and I think coming up with good titles on this. If you take some revenues here, how much of this revenues, what percentage of this revenues are you collecting in this month, this month, this month, this month? You want to take this one and push it forward. So we're just going to put how much, I'm going to put 1 here, and then if you can do this really fast, you should. Alt-EIS enter. How fast was that? Okay? And we're going to then put how many days, what the percentage of this we collect in this month, let's take this one. How much do you collect in the current month? How much do you collect in the next month? How much you collect in the next month, and so forth. So we'll put the percentage you collect in the future months here. And that's really a pain to compute. Now, once you have that, of course, you make the opening balance equal the closing balance. That's about the only thing I can really do on this thing, maybe. Okay. And then you're going to say, well, how much you're going to add the accounts receivable. This is the accounts receivable balance. You're going to put the revenues in. That's going to increase it. But then you have to collect some from this month. And in that case, I'm going to put this as this number -1, because what we're going to use is an offset function, a whole bunch. And we're going to push it forward 1 and push it forward 2 and all this stuff. Okay, so that's what we're going to do. So I'm going to start. And then we put a lookup. And then we put year, of course. And I can tell my anxiety is going up, because even though I practiced it, this is one of the most painful things to do. Now I'm gonna, this time, different from last time, I'm just going to assume each month has about 30.5 days. We could do it fancier, okay? And then I just said, okay, we have 61 days, 91, blah, blah, blah. And then we have to figure out this. So we're going to go up here. Now, if we have only 20 days, well, that means that the amount we collect in, if we have to wait 20 days, that means we're collecting F4 minus this one, F4 like that. That's how much we're collecting in this month. Is that okay? So, whoops. And then we have to take that and divide it by the 30 days. Okay, I put that. So we're collecting 34% of the amount in this period. Now, that means I did this one, and if we take this plus this, it doesn't work. So what we really should do is say, okay, in this month, I'm computing 1 minus the 34. Okay? And then after this month, we're not collecting anything. So after this month, I could put, take 1 minus the sum of these two and put a comma, and we'll take the minimum of 1 minus the sum of this, or what we're trying to compute. Okay. Whoops. Now, I did it wrong because I have a comma here, and I'm taking way too long. Okay. But before we do that, let's temporarily change this to 45. That means, well, uh-oh, it said we have this. Well, that can't be correct. So what we have to do is put a maximum of this or 0. Okay. And now the second one is wrong. This is and I'm having a problem with the silly showing the formula here. Why am I having that problem so badly? Just a minute. Okay, I've got the answer, but I have to now explain it. So, first thing we did, let's just say, we took the this, and let's put 0 in. If we put 0 in, we take the maximum of the amount of days we have minus 0, in this case minus 0, and that's 30 minus 0 is 0, and we divide it by the amount of the days. That's why we get 100. Now let's put 15.25. Then we collect half the month. That's 30.5 divided by 2. We get half the month. Now if we have 20, then we collect less from this month. So again, it's the maximum of this one minus this one divided by this one. That's how we get the first one. But then we have to do the second one. Now, let's just copy that down for a minute, and we get all crazy results. Okay? So we get the maximum of this minus that, which, remember, I just did this, and I said if you add this, it doesn't work, and you have to make sure that it doesn't exceed 1. So what we do is put a minimum along with the maximum, and we put 1 minus the amount we collected last month, so we don't ever collect too much. Okay? And then we better put the thing here. Okay? And then we go down. It still doesn't work. And here's why. Let's say it's 0. And this worked okay, but the next one didn't. So I'm going to put 45. That means we collect nothing in this one. Now, when we do this one, instead of putting the minimum of this, we put the minus sum of everything we collected in the prior months. Now, if we want to copy that one down, okay, what we need to do is put a $sign right here. So this is a pain, okay? And it still didn't work, okay? Because this should have been okay, put the bracket in the wrong place, and that's not the first time I've done that. Okay, and now let's just put a total. Let's check it's working. Okay, and then now let's see if it really works for all these other ones. So that's why I did it with different. So when we have 58, it still works. When we have 105, shoot, it didn't work because we went so far that we don't even have that one when we have 70. So I'm going to change the 105 to 85, okay? Um, just because we'd have to add another month. I hope you are not getting angry with me for skipping a step there, okay? Now, what we do is we take the revenues we recorded, and now it's going to be the tough part. Now, what I did here is I took this number and put -1 in there, okay? This video might be going a little bit long, but I don't know how to explain it faster. Now, if you put offset, and you just go up to this revenue recorded, and then put 0 to stay in that one, and then you put -1, or minus this one, -0 in this case. Okay, what will happen then? It will, whoops, didn't do that one very well. Whoops, I'm gonna copy this across and not worry about that last thing we did. Okay, these we don't want to do because that's bad if I just do that, but it's not the worst thing in the world. So this one it took this one, and then you see what happened here. It went here, and then this one went to this one, but this one, it's just pushing it forward. Now, one thing that would be tempting to do would be just to take the collections and multiply these collections by this number, okay? And I'm copying it across, okay, and then I'll copy it across here and do the same thing. And then Shift Control R. Now, this looks pretty good because we're collecting, out of this revenues, we're collecting 34% of them in this month, and we're collecting the rest, and I think I'm wrong. So this one in this month, so it's actually not correct, okay, and it's not supposed to be. So what you do to fix this, I'm doing this now quickly, which is really bad to get rid of this revenue with video. You do this and you put times offset, and then you do the same thing with these. You put this one and put (0), minus, and you click over on this one for to here. Okay, and this time I'm going to do it in a smarter way. And I'm not going to worry about all that stuff at the bottom. Okay, so this one we put it okay, in the forward years. And here's the collections of the 25. 1 second. Okay, excuse me for making a mistake just now. And the mistake I made was you have to go up and lock this revenue, the row number in the revenue, but you don't for this one. You don't for this one. So when you go up to this one, it says take the revenues and multiply it by the 35. And then let's do a more interesting one. This says go to the 65, go back to the 65, just one, and multiply that one by backwards here, okay? And it's a confusing one. So let's just look at the rule. You use the offset differently for the multiplications, okay? What a pain. But when you do that, it really does work. As soon as you switch from 20 to 58, then what we're doing is where our revenues are. We're not collecting any of the revenues suddenly because our collections went so far out. And this collection is from this one. So we go backwards. We have that right. And then this collection now is a much smaller one from this one. So I believe that's all working. So our just to kind of show it really works, so we take our opening balance plus the amount we record in revenues minus all the collections from all of this stuff. Okay, and then we press Shift Control R. Now what should happen is here our accounts receivable build up, and they go down, and they're changing with all that. Oh, I'm losing my voice. I'm making too many stupid videos. And then we go all the way to the end, and we finally finish it up because our thing's ending, and it really goes down to zero. For me, that's not a perfect test, but a pretty good test that you've collected all your revenues. You haven't left anything out, and you've pushed them ahead. And if we make a quick graph of this, just F11, we can kind of see this is when we had to wait longer. This is when our revenues were growing, I guess, from inflation, and this is our seasonal thing with the solar power. So that's all. That's the working capital, and I'm gonna keep doing this until I get till I'm able to explain it better. But I think the key is getting a minimum and maximum with all this stuff, and then also using the offset function in kind of fancy ways. Okay, and that's that. Okay, I'm not gonna make another video where we'll have accounts payable down here, but I will stop this video, thankfully. Okay, and one day I'm gonna really be able to explain this a little bit better.